Okay, we're going to be finding volume of prisms and cylinders. So we're doing 10.2 right now, volumes of prisms and cylinders. It's really pretty easy. Volume is always easy. I want you to remember one thing. Volume is always equal to the area of the base times the height. Always, 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 always. So when you find volume, you're always going to do 3 lines, okay? The only thing that you have to remember, it will always be 3 lines. You might have to do some division right here, okay? But it'll depend on the figure. But it's always going to be 3 lines. So if we were together, I would teach you that and I would say, where's your 3 lines? Where's your 3 lines? Because your area of your base, notice it's capital B, it's because it carries a formula with it. So it depends on what the base is. This is a rectangular prism. So the base is a rectangle. We know the formula for a rectangle is length times width. Okay? And it's always going to be times the height of the figure. And you'll always know the height because the height is connected with the bases. Well, it's straight up multiplication problem. Commutative property tells me it doesn't matter how you multiply these numbers, you're going to get the same answer. But if we follow this rule, we know we have the length here, the width here, and the height here. So if the length of the figure is 16, we could say the width of the figure is 8, and the height of the whole figure is 25. Now, what I want you to remember is that the height of the figure, it shouldn't be thought of literally. Like the box doesn't have to be standing straight up and down for you to say the height. I don't care if you would have said the height is 8 or the height is 16. It doesn't matter how you multiply these numbers. I just want you to understand the idea that volume will always be equal to 3 lines. Area of the base times the height. And then remember, volume is about counting cubes. Surface area was about will be about counting squares. So surface area will be in squared units, whereas volume will be in cubic units. So once I do 16 times 8 times 25, 16 times 8 times 25, I get 3,200 centimeters cubed, because we're counting how many cubes can fit into the figure. So that's how you find volume of a rectangular prism. Pretty easy. 3 lines, 3 lines. Don't forget 3 lines. Here we are, volume of a prism. Volume is equal to area of the base, capital B, times the height. Volume is always equal to 3 lines. Always put 3 lines down and you won't make a mistake. 6 by 2.5 by 3. Multiply those numbers together. You have 6 times 2.5 times 3, and you have 45 feet cubed. Done. Volume of the triangular prism. Okay, remember what I said. Volume is always equal to area of the base times the height. But let's talk about this. This doesn't look like a full shape. It looks like somebody chopped it in half, because a triangular prism is half the size of a rectangular prism. So when you think about this figure, and if somebody just kind of chopped it right in half, you would create a triangular prism. So just like a triangular area formula, remember the formula for area of a triangle is equal to base times height divided by 2. It's the same thing here. Once I know that it's a triangular prism, I'm still going to do 3 lines. The only difference is that I have to remember this figure is half the size of a regular rectangular prism. Just like a triangle is half the size of a rectangle. So, what is the base of the triangle? Well, wherever the 90-degree angle is. You have the base, you have the height. Remember, base and height make a 90-degree angle. They make this L. So base to height 5. What's the height of the whole figure? So you have to be careful here because there's two heights. There's the height that creates the base, and then there's the height. Okay, a bit different pen. There's the height right here that connects the bases. That's the height of the whole figure. So that number is going to go right here. So this number creates the area of the triangle. So this is the area of the triangle times the height of the whole figure divided by 2, because a triangular prism is half of a rectangular prism. So you're going to do 2 times 5 is 10, times 3 is 30, divided by 2. And you can find out that your volume is equal to 15 inches cubed. So I'm going to say it again to you. You always draw 3 lines. Always draw 3 lines for volume. Put your things that you know, area of the base times the height of the whole figure, and then cut it in half because it's half of a prism, rectangular prism. They show funny. Here's a triangular prism again. So I'm going to go volume is equal to area of the base times the height. It's half of the figure. So volume is equal to 3 lines, always 3 lines. It's divided by 2 because it's half of the figure. The base of the triangle, find the 90-degree angle. Find the 90-degree angle right here. You have your base and your height of the triangle. Okay, so 1 5/10 times 4 times the height of the whole figure. Why is this the height of the whole figure? Because it connects the 2 bases, here to here. That makes that the height of the whole figure, okay? So 1.5 times 20, and then divide the whole thing by 2, and you end up with 15. So your volume is equal to 15 feet cubed. Pretty easy. Just remember 3 lines, 3 lines, 3 lines, 3 lines. Cake batter is poured into a pan that is a rectangular prism whose base is an 8-inch square. So, oops, something happened there. The base is a square, so it's 8 by 8. So remember, volume is equal to area of the base times the height. Volume is always going to be 3 lines, always, always, always. So it's area of the base, which is a square, so it's 8 times 8. It's asking me what is the height of the batter, so I don't know this, but I do know that the volume is 192. So it's 192 equals 64 times h. You're just going to take and solve for h. So 192 divided by 64, and you'll get your height is going to be 3 inches. There you go. You could check it. So you can plug in 3 right here and do 8 times 8 times 3 to make sure you get 192. So you can check and make sure that it works. Okay, so look at that problem. That was kind of a work backwards problem. So make sure you understand how we did it. Again, I always write down what I know and then I plug in what's in the story. It's the best way to do a story problem. Your turn. A swimming pool is filled, assume that it's a rectangular prism for the swimming pool, with 960 cubic feet of water. As soon as they start saying this, I know that we're talking about volume. So area of the base times the height. Volume is equal to 3 lines, always 3 lines. It's a rectangular prism, so there's no division. I know that it's 20 by 12, and I'm looking for the depth, which would be the height. I know the volume is 960. So 960 is equal to, multiply those two numbers together, 240 H, and then go ahead and solve for H. So 960 divided by 240, and you're going to get, oops, sorry, I forgot what I was doing here, by 240. And I have the height is equal to, or the depth of the pool is 4 feet. You could substitute it back up here and make sure that if you multiply 20 times 12 times 4, you indeed get 960. So it's pretty easy to work backwards. Process. You can pause if you need to look at this some more. Okay, oh, look at that. So what two shapes do you see? Do you see a rectangular prism with a triangular prism on top? So that means you got to find two things. So again, volume is equal to area of the base times the height, right? But I have two things here. I have one that's going to be divided by 2 and one that is not. So let's first take the bottom half of the figure. That's a 12 by 9 by 9, correct? So do 12 times 9 times 9, and you get 972 meters cubed. So clearly it's not this answer, clearly it's not that answer, and clearly it's not this answer. So we're shooting for this answer right here because I still have to find the volume of the top. So again, volume is equal to 3 lines divided by 2. Why is it divided by 2? Again, the triangular prism is half of a rectangular prism. So the base is a 9 by 9 triangle, and the height is 9. No, it's not. What is the height? I don't want to erase all ink. I'm going to change my pen. The height is 12. Why? Because remember, the height of the whole figure connects the two triangles together. So it's this right here, and that's 12 meters. So the height of my triangle is here. This and this, creating that 90-degree angle. It's 9 by 9. So my triangle is 9 by 9. The height of the whole figure is 12. So it's 9 times 9 times 12 and divided by 2. And you should have 486 meters cubed. And then you're going to put those both together. So 486 plus 972, 1,458 meters cubed. Feel free to pause it at this point to look and see what we did. It's going to take a long time to get through, just so you know. Same kind of thing. I'm going to do the same thing. I got the volume of the bottom half, and I have the volume of the top half. Both of them have 3 lines. This one just happens to have a divided by 2 because a triangular prism is half of a rectangular prism. Have you heard that yet? Or is that new to you? So I have a 14 by 8 by 5. It doesn't matter how you multiply those numbers. This one I have, if you look, here's the 90-degree angle. So I have a 6 by 8. And then here, connects this space with this space. That's the height of the whole figure, which is 14. That goes right there. Put those two pieces together, and you're going to get an answer of B right here. You can pause it, Take a look at it, make sure you understand it. Remember, you're just adding those two together. Ooh, a cylinder. All right, so let's think about a cylinder. Well, volume doesn't change. Still the area of the base times the height. Still the same. So you're going to do 3 lines. Still going to do 3 lines. Nothing changed. Only now the base of my figure is a circle. So what's the formula for area of a circle? Pi r squared. You have to have that in your head. You need it in your long-term memory, not your short-term. So I do pi, what's my radius? Right, 7 squared. What's the height? Again, the height connects the 2 bases. So in this case, it's 14. Right there. And I'm going to take my calculator. And I'm going to do second pi 7 squared times 14. So like that. I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So in this case, I'm going to say volume is equal to 2,155 and 1/10 feet cubed. Like that. No division. It's not half of anything. It's a whole figure. So every single cylinder will be found out this way. Pi r squared h. Area of the base times the height, 3 lines, always 3 lines. Okay, this is important. Remember, area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. I have the diameter, so what's the radius? Right, half of the diameter. So get that information first. So volume is equal to area of the base times the height, 3 lines, pi r squared times 2. Volume equals, volume is approximately, did I write that on the other one? Remember, pi is an irrational number, so I can't have an exact number here. So when I do this problem, I want to make sure that I'd say approximately. I'm not sure I did that in the last one. You want to make sure that you do that. So pi times 25 times 2, don't say times 10. This is 5 squared, not 5 times 2, 5 times 5. So you're going to get, if you look at your calculator, 157, we're rounding to the nearest tenth, and 1/10 meters cubed, because the number next to 0 is 7 and it's 5 or above. So you give that 10th place, which is the first place after the decimal, a shove. There you go. And then we go again. Volume is equal to, notice you have the radius, good news. Area of the base times the height. Volume is equal to 3 lines. I would always in my homework draw those 3 lines. I have my base is pi 4 squared times the height of the figure. Volume is approximately right there. This one, make sure you don't forget to cut it in half to get your radius, and do the same thing. Pi 4 squared times 6, and you should get 301 6/10. So make sure you can do each one of those. There you go. It's not very hard to do volume. Good luck.